Welcome to this episode of Ask the Guitar Coach, the only podcast where you get answers to all your guitar-related questions. If you're interested in developing your guitar skills and reaching your music goals, please send me an email at the email address ioannis@ioannis.org. That is IOANNIS at IOANNIS.org, so that I can let you know about all the different packages of elite guitar coaching and how you can get private coaching by me. Without further ado, let's go to our question for the day. I have a lot of great music project ideas, but I end up doing nothing about them. How can I train myself to actually get them done? So that's a very good question. It's not strictly a music question or a guitar question. So we have someone who has a lot of ideas, but it's making the plans and trying to see how he's going to get them done, but ends up doing nothing or almost nothing about them. So this is much more of a productivity problem than a music-related problem, which is very good. We're going to work on that. I'm just trying to clarify it that this is a productivity thing, not a music thing. So let's get started. So whenever I have a new project coming up, I make an outline. I actually make a mind map. So if you Google mind mapping, you will see, and you read about it, you will see that this is exactly the way the human brain works. So by making this mind map, this outline, I start outlining the different steps that need to be taken and then moving them, copying and pasting them in the proper order. And this happens for every project I'm doing. Like for example, if I have a new CD, I know there are 50 steps, and I just write the 50 steps down, and then this outline stays there forever for my next CD. So when it's time for the next CD, I just pull out this outline and start going over the steps again. And these steps can be anything from recording, from doing the mastering, from finding a bass player to play over the specific tracks, from actually doing the recordings, everything like the covers, the writing the text, making sure I have at least 3 professional people listen to the recording. Everything is included. So I would follow the same process for whatever project I'm working on. For example, if I'm writing a book and recording a DVD or video for the book, since I work for Melbay Publications and we collaborate writing and recording books, what I do is every time I start a book, I follow the same plan. First, I will outline the book, then I will write the examples, then I will fine-tune and correct the text, and then I will record the examples in audio and then play the examples in video. And all these things are in a checklist where I go, and every step that's being completed, it just gets its own check mark next to it. If you want a really good book to read for creating this kind of checklist, it's called the Checklist Manifesto. It's written by a doctor who has a very, very strange name, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, but once again, it's called the Checklist Manifesto. So definitely check it out. Now, as a general productivity rule, productivity is a huge, really huge issue, and unless you get this thing down, you will never be able to get a lot of things done in your work and leave your own legacy. Now, when it comes to productivity, there are thousands of things that you can do to make you a little bit more productive, but there is one thing that I've seen that consistently, if you're being really unproductive, will give you the most help, like the most bang for your buck. And that's very simply creating a list from the previous night of the things you need to do the next day. So for example, if you have like a song that you want to punch in and do a couple of harmonies for the solo, and then you want to call your graphic designer, and then you need to call one student of yours, just write those things in a piece of paper the night before you go to sleep, and then as soon as you wake up, instead of wondering what am I going to do today and oh my god, I have all these projects, that just do those 3 things that you wrote up there, and then follow the same process the next night and the next night, and so on and so forth. Now, what happens if you have all these big projects and you're like, oh, I don't have time for them, there's so many, and so on and so forth? Well, Paul Gilbert once said something very funny, which I found to be very true. He goes, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. So the first thing to do is, if you have like 10 project ideas, just rank them in, not your mind, put them on paper. So first I'm going to do this song, for example, then I'm going to do this video clip, then I'm going to do this playthrough, then I will do this guest solo, and then start following the process we just outlined for the first one. Once you're done with the first one, then move to the second, and so on and so forth. Now, it is very important to give deadlines, but make sure you understand that you can only give deadlines to things that are dependent on you. Because if I give a deadline, for example, on recording these videos and these audios, and then the person who's doing the camera work is not available for me, then the deadline is kind of pointless. You have to always factor these things in. But once again, now we're getting heavy into productivity tricks, which is probably for another, not even one video, series of videos. So there you have it. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Until then, keep those questions coming and keep practicing. Bye bye.